Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. Welcome to the Vegan World 2026 Moonshot podcast. This is a 42nd episode, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming Vegan World 2026 Convergence that's happening this weekend. And we are joined by two members of this incredible team that has been putting it together. Uh, BJ, Rebecca Allen, and Paige. Thank you so much for being here and for all your service to the community. I mean, without all this work in the background, I don't see how I can get anywhere close to telling Kimaya I'm working on your pinky promise. This pinky promise is all of us, all of us.
Yeah.
For me, it's what drives me every day. I wake up every day thinking about the pinky promise and how am I going to fulfill it. Because I think it is to me it's in every fiber of my being.
Right.
That's I live, breathe, and do everything with the pinky promise. So anyway, and thank you all for making it part of your lives. And I see how much time you're putting into it, and I'm so grateful. And Kimaya is so grateful for your work. I don't know. I'm just overwhelmed. And whenever every quarter we do this, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude and emotion for all of you who are behind the scenes helping us get this done. So welcome. What do you think about this convergence? How do you feel? Are we making progress?
We are making progress.
Yes.
It is looking beautiful, and I just want to say I'm honored to be a part of this team and helping with the Pinky Promise. I mean, I've taken it on, and so many other people have and are continuing to in their own ways. And I'm looking forward to the speakers, the panels that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost ready to send out who's doing what, but
Yeah. The schedule is full. I mean, my God, and I'm just again grateful for all the people who are coming forward and saying, "I want to contribute to this, to the discussion and what's going on." So, Paige, I know you both have been part of this for the last 3 years, and how do you feel about the progress you've made?
It's when I think about the progress, I think of two things. I think the progress with our team and what we're doing as a Convergence, Vegan World 2026. And then I think of the progress of our world moving closer to a vegan world by 2026. So twofold. I just want to say it's a team effort. I am so grateful to be a part of the Jane Velez Mitchell Jane on Jane team, as well as part of the Climate Healers organization and leadership team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm incredibly grateful, and we have an extraordinary team on both. And I wouldn't have had this opportunity to learn about you years ago and drive in Jane's car all the way from Arizona. I think we did it 3 times in person. And there's a hoopla of stories, and we stayed in Airbnbs with a group of activists from all over the world, literally. And now we're doing this virtual Convergence for the 3rd time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are, there's just so many people to say thank you to, who have been working tirelessly behind the scenes to make the Convergence happen smoothly. There's moderators and co-hosts and speakers and presenters and people who know how to work all the behind the scenes stuff. And I'm so grateful for our entire team. And thank you, Jane Velez Mitchell, for your tireless work. For us to be able to bring this to people here on the Jane Unchained Network, as well as on the Climate Healers, all the things just the partnerships I'm really moved by. And I do think we're moving the needle. I have seen progress. I have experienced conversations of progress.
Mm-hmm.
And it moves me. I am inspired by my 13-year-old daughter that looked at me and said she's going vegan, and she's 20 now. Um, she's in college to be a veterinarian, and
Mhm.
it moves me. That's what motivates me. My
Right.
children and the children, the future of the thrivable planet that we potentially can turn things around and move forward. And a plant-based, vegan diet and lifestyle is the way I see we go forward, and it's needed. We need all of us on
Right.
board. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's. I mean, you can see it, right? You see it. It's so. That solution is just staring at us in the face. It's like the cow in the room or the elephant in the room saying, "Hey, are you smart enough to do this?" And that's what we are saying. Yeah, we are smart enough to do this. So thank you so much for all your efforts. And I know it's just two of you who come now, but there are so many behind the scenes. We'll have a meeting later this afternoon with about 10, 12 people showing up. And to me, this is a labor of love. Love for the animals, love for our children and our grandchildren, and love for humanity and the planet, Mother Earth herself. So she's calling us up to do this. And I see my Kimaya as a representative of Mother Earth. Saying, I'm just fascinated, just looking at the um, progression of human society. I mean, the 20th century was known as the century of the child by the BBC. Okay, they had a documentary like that
Hmm.
because it was the first time in the early 20th century that they started giving rights to children. Until then, children were used in factories because they had little tiny fingers and they can do manipulations of things very easily. So they were being recruited to be factory workers. This is what Charles Dickens was writing about. So I woke up today thinking, now I'm here to serve the children. I mean, what a difference 100 years makes, right?
Right. Right. And the animals are being included.
Right.
And one of the things that inspires me so much is being able to come to these convergences, to be able to work with people who are seeing the vision of what the world could be.
Mm-hmm.
Many times we're involved with people who don't understand. We're in small towns or rural communities or in big cities, hustling and bustling, and to get to be with people who do see the vision, who do understand, and who share their stories of, who went vegan, who's writing a book, who's doing a podcast, who's protesting here or there. It's what keeps me going and being inspired.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That when I first became vegan nearly 6 years ago, I didn't know what was going on. I came in through the environmental space. I was out there banning plastic bags in the state of California. I was walking around with a basket encouraging people to use less plastics. I went into restaurants with paper straws, and I encouraged people. I sold them metal straws and glass straws and things just out of my basket or gave them away. Or bamboo, please, this is the solution, which is very important. Yes. But then when I saw the amount of water being used to put animal products on my plate, I said, no more. This doesn't make any sense. So I feel like what's beautiful that I've been seeing in the past 6 years, and like I said, I didn't know anything about the animal rights world, is all of these incredible, amazing organizations that are, that are doing so much work. And I keep seeing that I can't even keep up. Like you go onto Jane and Chain and you see something new, and then you go to plant-based news and you see something new, and you see veg news. This partnership's happening. This person's going plant-based. Like a celebrity is going plant-based, and it's exciting. It's movement, and I see it every single day, and I think that gives me hope. That gives me hope. That gives me juice to keep going, because now this is definitely 24/7. The Pinky Promise. I think of Genesis Butler, who's the youth activist who helped start the Youth Climate Save with the SAVE movement, and that's global. And she's connecting the youth. And I remember her saying that she heard, I think I'm paraphrasing, but that she really feels like she hears the animals, and the
Mhm.
animals are encouraging her to keep going and to keep encouraging others to join in and help. And now with the climate youth climate save, that she's connecting, even if someone's on the journey, they're not yet vegan, but she's saying,
Mhm.
please join me in these efforts to move the needle and to bring forth awareness of that we need to change right now. We need to reach out to the government. We need to really encourage people to switch what they have on their plate so that they can vote with their dollars. And the information that she's putting out there on the social media and so forth is
Mhm.
so astounding. And the work that Genesis is doing. So I just give huge, huge, huge gratitude to her, her family, her mother. It's just, wow. Let me drink some water.
One of the people I'm interested also in listening to is Joya Wesley. She's written
Mhm.
a book. She's going to be talking about 1,000 Black vegan women, and that's fascinating. And then we have the 1,000, or is it 10,000 grandmothers? So, I mean, we have so many groups. At one time, there was a, a dearth of groups that you could. It was hard to find anybody doing vegan
Right.
things, and now, like you said, Paige, there are so many, and this convergence helps encourage and inspire others. I mean, this group, climate healers and food healers, inspired me to start the immune boosters group, and there are so many people that are going to be talking about food too and how that helps at the
Mhm.
convergence.
Yeah, yeah. It is the whole idea is to for the community to come together and help each other get better at what we do.
Mhm.
So this is why I encourage people to come to the convergence and interact with people, get energized, and then you have 3 months to go and implement it, and then you have the next convergence. This is how we are going to keep amplifying the movement. And so of course simultaneously we have to put a structure underneath it. We need to know exactly how are we implementing the whole solution. So I'm going to be talking about that during the opening in this convergence, because we just published a paper called Engineer Solutions to Scientist Warning. So it was basically 4 engineers getting together and saying, okay, if someone came and told us, here is the problem, how would you solve it, right? So, and as engineers, we're trained to do that. This is our job, to figure out how to solve problems. So, so that's what we did in the paper, and we're going to talk about that. And we are going to have premieres of documentaries. So we'll have the Animals, a Parallel History documentary um, that I think page is frozen.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, the Animals, a Parallel History documentary is going to be premiered during the convergence. It's the full length version of it, and it's been colorized, and you can see amazing things like um, did you know that Thomas Edison was experimenting on a horse to
no.
show whether alternating current is lethal?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, things like so. Our animals have helped us understand our technologies, helped us, develop our technologies, and then figure out, what works, what doesn't work. And so now we no longer need to go and experiment on them. So I know Lisa Barker is going to be uh, doing her new song.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which is so so she's going to be doing a whole slew of songs from her repertoire during the convergence. So it's going to be a combination of information and art and celebration and food and showing that we are making progress,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we can measure it. We can start measuring it now. So the app that Arvin introduced is now on iPhone. It's still not available for public download, but it's on iPhone. It's being tested.
Okay.
So I got to test it. So it's doing really good. And so I think they're going through the process of, hi, Tammy. I'm going to add Tammy. Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Yay, I'm all wet.
Another one of those who are working behind the scenes to get the vegan world convergence going.
That's
So good.
I'm actually an Aquarius water Aquarian.
I wanted to bring something up that I think is so exciting. I have noticed this connective collective. So if you're not on Clubhouse yet, and this is not, I don't work for Clubhouse, but what I found is we're able to globally connect with people. And that is our goal. This is the goal. Look at the grandmother. I love it, Tammy. It's so perfect, leading right into. What I have found is that through Clubhouse, we've been able to connect with people around the world. And I'm really excited for people from around the world to learn and hear about this convergence. That we're going to have, we've always had a global, but I feel like we're able to even extend out more and connect people through the people that we've met through Clubhouse that are joining us in our rooms, in our solutionary rooms, our climate healer room, and it's just exciting. Okay, Tammy, over to you.
Yeah. So we are here sharing our excitement about the convergence this weekend.
Yes, we are.
And we have some great people joining us this weekend. Lots of really incredible documentaries that are life-changing for people. Once we know, we can't not know, right? Once we know, we can't not know. And the vegan grandmothers are joining. So we're joining together. There's going to be 1 million of us. At first I said 1,000, but Sailesh said, no, there will be 1 million of us joining together. So we need to change the name to 1 Million Vegan Grandmother Council. And we're going to be gathering together to speak with an incredible panel on the 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Janie Rao is part of our panel. Anna Clement, the founder of Hippocrates Health Institute. Deborah Kaplan, Judy Carmen of Homo Ahimsa. Who am I forgetting here? Oh, Beth Love from Eat for the Earth. And we have so many great speakers all weekend, and music and food shows. And maybe we're going to debunk the regenerative hoax too and talk about veganic nature, bringing the wild back kind of gardening and food foraging. So I'm hoping that's going to happen too.
Tammy, may I ask you, what is the intention of bringing the grandmothers together?
Well, in every tradition, before patriarchal kind of took over the world, because see, if you can get the feminine divine out and the intuition and the fierce grandmother wise energy, then you can control and manipulate people to rape and destroy the earth. So we're going to bring back that council, because here we are. We're going to see if we can change this catastrophe around from the burning and killing machine to the wise grandmothers who are a force to be reckoned with. A force to be reckoned with. So they will be bringing in the new Aquarian time and managing and gathering for our grandchildren. And I believe the next 7 generations, the vision of all Aboriginal people from every tradition, because we're all Aboriginal in our rights.
Yeah. We are basically returning to our Aboriginal roots. That's our roots. We have always been that way when we started out. It's just that we went out and we had to live in really harsh climates, and so we had to do what we did. And now we are all coming back because we can all be vegan no matter where we are. So, in fact, I was talking to someone on LinkedIn today. She had sent me a message saying that her friends are arguing that veganism is elitist, and she's from India. And I said, wait a minute, if you go to the villages of India, they're all eating vegan food because the base food in India is vegan. Roti, chawal, dal, sabji, idli, sambar, they're all vegan foods. And that's what we grew up with. That was our base food. It's just that when you became wealthy, then you got access to dairy, other things. So it was always this we were told that animal foods are aspirational. You're aspiring to it. And now I'm saying it's actually the other way around. The people who are eating animal foods are aspiring to go vegan. So you stay where you are, we're all coming to you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's good. That's very good. I remember I was moved so much, and it helped me understand about my journey when I heard Chief Phil Lane Jr.
Mhm.
talk about how when he said it, we're all one and we're finding our home. Like you said, we're learning how we could be.
Mhm.
Um, and to think of me as Aboriginal, doesn't fit what the norm is thinking about. But when I think about me finding and learning from people who still have that message and live that message, then
Right.
I can be a part of a simpler living, a vegan living, and also saving the earth, for goodness sakes.
Well, saving the earth for us and for the children and for animals, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the earth may be able to survive regardless of what we do. We don't know. But wouldn't it be nice if we helped,
Hmm.
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's it. If we became from a narcissistic predatory taker species, which is what our system is making us do now, if we could create a new system in which we can become a compassionate, climate regulating caretaker species. So that's our job. We have to regulate the climate. As soon as we realize that we are changing the climate, we got a responsibility. It's like, you are holding the tiger by the tail, and then you say, okay, now you have to make sure you hold on to it straight so that the tiger doesn't bite you. Otherwise, you're in trouble. That's our job. The climate is a tiger. We better be really, really careful with it. Okay, so, and we need to be teaching our children that. So the whole discussion is going to be around, how do we re-educate people? How do we re-educate our children? Because right now our children are all being trained to become workers in the factory system.
Hmm.
That's what we're focused on, education system.
My son wrote a poem a week before he died. I believe it was very prophetic, and what you just said really reminded me of that, Sailesh.
Mm.
And he certainly didn't consider himself a poet, but one of the lines was, "We'll be the roar of the lion, the king of the pack, and we'll take all that are weak onto our back, because we are strong, too strong to comprehend. So let your lion rear its ugly head."
Mm.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, maybe I'll read it during the music and art. And that was just one line of it, but it was very, very powerful. He talked about everyone in life has a message for you. The kid in the shop that's crying and just won't stop have a message for us, and learn it well. Because when your dust settles, where will it fall?
Yeah.
And you are telling
Mhm.
me he's not a poet?
He is a poet.
He's a poet.
Yeah.
He's a poet. He still is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dr. Rao, one of the things that motivates me for the future is getting plant-based
Mm.
food to those in need, to food deserts, to places that, people don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables and foods. And
Mm.
so I really appreciate what we're doing with the food healers. And I know we're looking for partnerships and funding and so forth to really get get the food there. And from our last Convergence with Vincent and Dolores Schilling, I was so moved by Dolores saying, let's create I felt, she said, we could create a partnership with
Mhm.
them to bring food to the reservations.
Right.
And that's very much part of my mission by the end of this year, is that we have an ongoing connection structure. And I know that like Sarah Siegel here in Los Angeles has been bringing food. She's done a few amazing food healers outreach. And there's been people like Annie who, creative food, both Annies creative food, beautiful. And I know that you and Kamaya came out, helped serve those in need, the food there, as well as I know that right, we're committed to bringing it to churches around the United States, being boots on the ground locally. And I know there's a lot of groups that are doing so much great work, like Chili's
Right.
on Wheels, and of course, Support and Feed, and Chef Supreme here in Santa Monica and Culver City is doing some great outreach on a regular. And that's just some of the people. There's so many.
Right.
But what are your thoughts on how we can move that project along? It's going into
Well,
the end of this year.
so
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't matter who is doing it. So long as the idea gets out and people start giving out healthy food to the community, it's perfectly fine, no matter how it gets done. So I'm so glad that all these different organizations have the same idea that you need to get healthy food and make it easily available to everyone. So that, I mean, because if we don't take care of ourselves first, how are we going to take care of the planet and the animals?
Mhm.
We have to take care of each other. So it's part of the process. To me, is food healers, and to me, it's just putting the idea out and then letting the community figure out how it's going to get done. Okay, because nothing can be done by just one group of people. I truly believe that. It's just all of us together collectively are going to do this. So I'm so happy, and I'm absolutely will do anything in my power to help you with your mission to get healthy food into Native American communities. That's so dear to me
Mhm.
because it broke my heart when I was in Kimaya's tribe, which is just south of Phoenix here, and the level of diabetes they have, the level of suffering that they go through with chronic diseases. And then, I had brought this group that wanted to help them with medical facilities and, I mean, with overcoming this in a holistic way. And they said the last group of people that came to study us just wrote papers about us and did nothing.
Yeah.
And this was in the 60s. So they've been studying them since the 60s. Okay. And they did nothing, which is heartbreaking to hear that. So,
Mhm.
and we can't let that continue. And so, yeah, absolutely. I've
Shauna,
been trying here too, but there's a lot of addiction we need to go get through as well. So we need a lot of counseling work, a lot of spiritual healing that needs to happen. So I'm looking to people like Brother Phil to help me understand and navigate. How can we help? I don't know, So, but you tell us what you need. So if Vincent and Dolores tell you what they need, I will do everything in my power to make that
Mhm.
happen. So thank you. Thank you for. So this is the kind of partnership that happened during the convergence. So
Mhm.
and thank you to Jamin Shipley. I know he's part of the team and his team, and again, Sarah Siegel, who are helping create the foundation for climate healers to bring the food out through food healers. I
right,
also want to thank Kelly and Ray, who are up in Canada, who are also working, the Vegan Abler, Kelly, and all the work that she's doing to connect chefs and those who want to support in that mentorship. And of course, Joy, so many people. It's really great.
yeah, I
Great.
know.
So exciting. I know.
We have Soren and we have Jiva, who does sanctuary works and has a HIMSA program, and we have Allison in Peru. We have so many people working. They're working for this a convergence, but they're also leading their lives, which are full.
Right,
And
right,
so it's a blessing to have everyone on the team, and all the people that are volunteering to speak.
right. Oh,
Goodness.
and also, I mean, like the Plant-Based Transition Coalition is going to have its general meetings during the convergence. So all the groups are going to come together and meet. And since the first time it's going to happen, this convergence is going to be on Saturday. So I just scheduled it for Saturday. I have to tell them. And
Beautiful.
because they said any time is okay with them. So, but I'm going to have them on Saturday.
Great.
And it is incredible because that coalition is aiming to get the governments, everyone involved in making this transition to a plant-based world, to a vegan world, because it's good for everybody. I mean, there is nothing that we go back and say, I wish I could have tortured an animal for this. Do you think any vegan would ever say that anymore?
Hmm. I think it would be amazing to have Helen Athwell at that coalition too, talking to them about how she's done veganic farming for over 40 years, nature farming. And because when we start to bring this plant-based, we are going to really need to access these people that are, like they call it, the veganic goddesses of the world, to come together, as the grandmothers and the wise people. And I really appreciate you bringing up Dolores and Vincent, Paige, because the last Convergence we had, he said that when, the white people came to the Mohawk people and they were trying to negotiate, the Mohawk people said, "Where are your women? We will not negotiate without your grandmothers and your women council." So that's what we're bringing together again. Where were our women when the earth was being raped? And the animals were being abused. So thank you.
Yeah, that's the transition that's happening. Well, I mean, you can see the core team at Climate Healers. You are here. This is what Kimaya has created for us, right?
One of the things that the Convergence has also is some on-demand videos, songs people have written. Dr. Clapper has a piece on there that he's going to talk about, and so it's a beautiful opportunity to catch up on some things that you hadn't seen. And once you've joined, you have access to those. I mean, it's a beautiful thing that you've created where we have many types of speakers and many opportunities for connection. I just really love it.
And I believe Jane Velez Mitchell is going to be speaking on Saturday evening. I think it's part of the closing ceremony about veganism and the media.
Right.
I also want to give a shout out, and I hand it back to you, Tammy, because Dr. Gabriel Cousins is going to be part of the Convergence. Yes. And Dr. Will Tuttle, is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The Vegan Interfaith Coalition, I believe, they're going to be also presenting.
Yeah, the Interfaith Vegan Coalition is going to do the opening and closing ceremonies on both days. And also the closing ceremony for Sunday, because Sunday, August 1st, is International Respect for Fish Day. And a lot of organizations are coming together to talk about what's happening in the ocean and how we can help with healing the ocean. And so that will be the closing ceremony. During the closing keynote, we'll be visiting with them. So I mean, to me, it is, and also the creator of Gunda, the documentary, which to me was one of the most impactful movies that I've ever seen in my life. Gunda. I mean, I told him it's the most impactful movie I've ever seen in my life in any genre. Forget documentaries, any genre. And so he's going to be with us. We're going to screen Gunda, and then he's going to be with us to do a Q&A. So he's agreed to do that. And so it'll be live. I'll be interviewing him after that. And so that to me is I'm so grateful that he agreed to come, and because to me that was genius. What he did was genius. Pure art.
That's an interview. I'm going to tell the audience out there, friends, family, vegans, non-vegans, that is an interview you don't want to miss, and a movie, a documentary you don't want to miss also.
Yeah. I've seen it twice already, but I can keep watching it. It's just such a moving film.
Well, we're going to have Peaceable Kingdom.
Right.
We're going to have so many things to choose from.
Yeah, Peaceable Kingdom will be screened on Sunday. And before Peaceable Kingdom is screened, we will have 2 panels. One panel on They're Trying to Kill Us, and another panel on The End of Medicine. Both of these documentaries are being evaluated by Netflix for other distribution. So we cannot screen the documentaries, but we can have a panel with the people in the documentaries. And those who have seen those two documentaries know how impactful they are going to be.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I see this crescendo of documentaries coming together that's just going to tip the world over. To You can't possibly watch these three documentaries and not go vegan.
I
Yeah.
met a really interesting doctor last night on Clubhouse, and he agreed to come and speak if there's anywhere we would fit him in. And he's actually an immunologist and specializing in allergies and talking a lot about the skin connection, because a lot of people have skin issues right now. So he would love to come and also share at some point on veganism and how. I was asking him if this is, do his colleagues talk about this? And he said they all admit they know nothing about nutrition.
Right.
All these specialists know nothing about nutrition. And I think that's really important when they talk about they're trying to kill us, that we understand when we go to our doctors and we're looking for health advice, we're not going to get what we need often. And
Right.
it's not a criticism against doctors. It's that we need to change a faulty system. And if our physicians and our specialists aren't learning anything, I was explaining to him when I was sick with Crohn's how my GI doctor said to me when I healed, first she told me if I went off medication I would die, and I said, well, I'm going to die trying. And then went away to a health center, Hippocrates Health Institute, which Anna's going to talk a little bit about in her talk during our Convergence, and how I healed so quickly. And so I think that's really important for people to take their health sovereignty back and understand veganism, whole food, plant-based diet. And when what's so good for the earth and the animals is so good for us too. It's just such a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
Right.
So.
Right.
It is.
I just signed up for the Ruby's Forks Over Knives cooking education. I have a show with my partner, and she's signed up as well. We have a show called Plant-Based in the Burbs, and they're like offering this crazy discount. And I just suggest anybody who wants to get a cooking certification that now I'll be certified, and I've been certified in my own kitchen. Everybody's in here is enjoying the food.
Right.
It took me a while. I'm don't consider myself a chef. So very excited about the Forks Over Knives, and that documentary as well. So powerful.
Right. Yeah. It's
I wanted to say something else I'm really looking forward to is Saturday morning with Gwenna Hunter. And Gwenna Hunter started Vegans of LA. And she was one of my first events I ever went to. She brought together Amy Jean Davis of the Save Movement, Los Angeles Animal Save. Yeah. And also Sean Munson, who is the director of Earthlings and Unity and other short films as well. And then Jane Velez Mitchell was there with Donna Denniston and Katie Cleary of World Animal News was there, and Prabhat Gantha, who's an incredible producer. It was just I didn't know any of these people, and I walked into this room, and Gray, the vegan Thanksgiving, was there singing. So Gwenna Hunter is an amazing just organizer and spirit and leader. She's been featured in so many publications and so forth. So she's going to be joining us on Saturday morning, and she's going to be presenting. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm looking forward to it. She's also started what is called a year ago. She started Vegans for Black Lives Matter, and she does work with vegan outreach and bringing food to the Black Empowerment Women's Group, as well as the Black Lives Matter in Los Angeles, and so much more. So she's going to be part of this as well. I want to give a shout out to a few other people that I'm thinking about: Summer Rose and Deborah and Patty and Anne, who are part of our leadership team and who do so much behind the scenes. And I'm not forgetting anybody.
Well, I want to tell you, there's Ankit, who also does so much. And Dr. Rao, you can tell me his full name, but he's a delight to be around, and he's going to be at the Convergence also.
Yeah.
And then also we have Renee King-Sonnen, who is the Rancher Advocacy Program. She's going to be there and has her Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. But yes, maybe you could tell us about Ankit's, expertise.
Role. His the kind of selfless service you get from people, and especially when I think of Ankit is putting all that effort in for his children, and he's working for a vegan world, even though he's not yet there. Okay, he's still eating animals in his home, but he wants a vegan world by 2026. He knows for sure that's something he wants to. So this is why even the app that we developed, United in Heart app, half of the funding for the app came from people who are not vegan yet, but they want a vegan world. Because they say that if it's a vegan world, we'll be vegan. Okay, no question. So, but right now they're stuck in their whatever the social conditioning and the situation that's there at their homes or whatever it is that they're not able to do the transition yet. But this is a process. So I say to people, we are all imperfect beings trying to come together and collaborate to create a more perfect world. So we need to have to just forgive each other for what has happened and get a move on. Ultimately, I want the animals to forgive us. In fact, I told Victor Kosakowski that one day I would love to meet Gunda face to face and beg her forgiveness for what happened. Yeah. Because there is a lot, and I'm sure the animals will forgive easily.
Yeah. There's a prayer, I'm probably going to say it wrong, but it's either Ho'oponopono or Ho'oponopono, Hawaiian prayer, and part of it is forgive me, and it starts with ourselves and our families and friends and animals, and even I extend it to please forgive my species for her hurting and killing your species. There's so much to be forgiven for, but then it leads on to thank you, because we can forgive the harms to us. And, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your sentiment there, Dr. Rao.
Yeah, I mean, she's just a symbol. She's a symbol of all the other mothers who suffered at our hands. So,
and human mothers also. So you're calling people in with love, Dr. Rao. And I know sometimes as vegans, and sometimes the more we see and the more we feel, and eating vegan, of course, makes us more sensitive, like way more sensitive. And sometimes we can get a little harsh with our fellow beings, but to know that we were all in this together, that we were all told the lie.
right.
And to call people in with love and not forget that, because my family isn't vegan either, but do I love them less? Absolutely not. Because like you said, we're moving fast now, and eventually everyone will join. And just to trust that, to hold that vision, as you say, it's already done. It's already done. 2026 is already here. So.
Oh, you're right there.
Oh, yes, I'm right here. You were looking for me. I was hiding in your bedroom.
The reminder of who we are doing this for, right?
Right.
Hi, sweetie.
Yeah. So Amira St. John's has written the Ho'oponopono prayer. It goes like this: I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And Alia had told me I just met her a few days ago. And so she told me that you need to do that first by looking in the mirror. Yeah. So you need to first be able to say your name. So I think that's a very impactful ritual that we need to go through. So we'll also have the Climate Healer certification meeting, certification program.
Get
So
certified.
all certified climate healers are welcome. We are going to honor you. Please join us. And for that 1 hour. I think I've scheduled it for Saturday evening. And so we're going to, and you will all get a chance to say your piece, say your mind, and tell us how we need to be doing things differently. Because I value your opinion very much. And, and Kimaya values your opinion very much. Ultimately, I report to Kimaya. So
I would like to read a Leo Toy Story quote that inspired me to be involved with the Animal Save movement. That's a global movement. When the suffering of another creature causes you to feel pain, do not submit to the initial desire to flee from the suffering one, but on the contrary, come closer, as close as you can to her who suffers, and try to help her. And I know Anita Krines, who started the Save movement, was inspired by Leo Tolstoy. And I just wanted to say that when you were talking about Gunda, it reminded me of visiting the pigs when they're transported in on the trucks, even from the small farms, because they end up at the feedlot. So the people don't realize that.
Right.
And then they become, then they go beyond those gates. And it also reminded me of what Moby, the musician, said why he would go to these vigils was to, kind of say sorry to the animals. And I remember being there many times and just looking in the eyes of these beings and just feeling remorse and sadness, and then leaving there going, I'm going to work harder at this. I'm going to work harder at, people be aware. Because I truly believe a lot of it is awareness. I didn't know until I knew. The day before I knew, I didn't know. And that to me is, I love what you're saying, Tammy, about the collective love and putting out the love to allow people in to be curious, ask questions, and wonder. Renee King-Sonnen taught me that in Clubhouse. I go in, she says, I go in curious about how another person's thinking when I go in there and I'm listening in the listening lounge, before I come up on stage. I'm listening, I'm wondering, in wonder rather than anger or frustration. But it can get hard at times, and I think of also Joaquin Phoenix, who would go to the vigils as well and be there to promote what he's seen. So, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I think of Dotsie Bausch and Switch for Good and the athletes now that are, pushing their hearts out. And, many of them have switched from dairy to plant-based options for their milks. Switch for Good is an incredible organization. So anyway, I was moved, and went right to that quote.
Yeah.
So inspiring.
I just thought of two more people. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Rathbone.
Go ahead.
I just thought of two more people. Colleen Patrick Grudeau will be here. And she's wonderful and uplifting. You're speaking of uplifting talk and love and care. I mean, she does a great job of that.
Joyful Vegan, that's who she is. Yes.
Joyful Vegan. And then the vegan show, I can't think of her name suddenly, the redheaded woman. Oh my gosh. Who's had a long vegan podcast for a long time. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, it'll come to me.
You made me think of our newest volunteer, Stacy. Shout out to Stacy.
Oh, yeah. Stacy, yeah, thank you.
We're going to have people here with centuries of veganism. Dr. Will Tuttle, almost 50 years. Gabriel Cousins, almost 50 years. Jeff Francis, who's a beautiful artist, is going to do an art of veganism presentation. And he celebrated 50 years this year of veganism.
Wow. We need to celebrate that.
Yes, I would like to celebrate that with him, and his art. I think sometimes in these times he's gotten a little down, and so we're going to bring him up and let him know that we got more people joining him now than there was 50 years ago. We were listening to a Cat Stevens song yesterday, and I was reminded very much of Jeff being part of that movement and working with Linda McCarthy and all the people that started in the 70s. maybe the 60s and earlier than that, of course. But some of these people joined that movement then. So to really honor and remember that they've been on the front lines for so long, and now we're going to be maybe some wind under their wings, because their wings are getting a little bit waterlogged. So thank you.
Yeah. No, and also the whole even the Tolstoy quote. I say it starts with you. You are suffering too, so just look in the mirror and get as close as you can. That applies to that as well. So forgive yourself first, because then you get really good at your work. So thank you all for being part of this healing process and for amplifying the Vegan World 2026 movement and for making it. I think it's becoming more and more like everyone knows 2026. It's become like a date that everyone knows. And they think it's these crazy people who think the world is going to be vegan by 2026. But suddenly we are no longer that crazy anymore, right?
Well, Dr. Will Tuttle Dr. Will Tuttle said in the World Peace Diet, when he first released the World Peace Diet, is he had the date of 2025, and so very close. The vision. We're all together on this, and he said that that's when we needed to have some significant changes by 2025. So many people have had this vision, and Sailesh, thank you so much for making it so concrete and being such a strong, happy, vibrant spiritual being in this human experience, because you really, for myself, and I think it's probably true for many of us, is it gives us so much inspiration and so much heartfelt get up and go every day when sometimes we don't feel like it, because you are tireless and you are such an amazing example of what one human can do in one lifetime. So grateful for your presence.
I'm just taking orders from a little girl who was so shocked that we could be living in a society where her family was getting eaten. So it's that vision of a monstrous world for a vegan child that drove me, that because a vegan child sees monsters all around her. And I don't want children growing up with monsters around them. So, and because there are going to be more and more vegan children. Absolutely. No question. Yeah.
I really appreciate what you're saying here, and also that our children are growing up to be climate fighters, to be climate generators, and that this is the first generation that's had to deal with our mess. Right. So when you were saying, Tammy, I don't know, it just led me to think about, I was thinking about Beth and Daniel Redwood, who've been just tirelessly, working at this. And I just want to also mention the Food Empowerment Project is an incredible group that have been fighting for food justice for years. And it makes me just think about circling back to all the amazing organizations and groups that have organized, the AFA, the Animal Fairness Alliance, doing lobbying, and social compassion and legislation, led by Judy Mancuso, and Simone Reyes is part of that as well. Wow. A lot of amazing work being done. And we are coming together in a Convergence this weekend.
This weekend.
31st and August 1st. And if you're watching this on delay after that fact, just know there's one coming up after this. So we're doing these every 4 months, right? Yeah.
Yes. Every 3 months.
Every
3 months. And I just to remind you, when I started working on Gigabit Ethernet back in 1996, people told me I was crazy. It cannot be done, Then by November, there was a realization in the community that it can be done. And I feel that we have reached the November of 1996 era in Vegan World 2026. People are realizing that it can be done, that it's not that complicated. It's just a matter of changing your gains, changing a few axioms, a couple of axioms. It's like overturning a couple of false things that we always had in our minds, throwing it away and saying, no, that wasn't true. So it's simple, it can be done, and we are meeting every 3 months to make it happen. So that's all it is. We are just the worker bees of the vegan movement. And
Pareen in India. We've got her.
Oh my gosh, Pareen.
Oh,
Incredible.
We love you, Pareen.
Yeah, we love you, Pareen. Thank you.
yeah, Pareen has written this amazing article on pandemic on your plate, and it's going to be published in an Indian journal. Last I heard. So I'm going to connect her with Mo Markham and the Eating Animals Causes Pandemics movement, so that they too should get together.
Yes. Yeah.
And we are working on another article, Pareen and I, along with Jared Bishop and Glenn Mercer. We are working on another article to explain to the layperson why you have to have a vegan world if you want to address climate change. So maybe we should call it climate on a plate, just like she called pandemic on a plate.
Climate on the plate. Climate on the plate. I like that.
You like that? Okay, because we're calling the diet climate connection, which seems
Yes.
so dry.
Right. That's so good. That's so good. Well, now I hope that people are writing how to sign up. You can go to, if you're seeing this probably on Facebook, somebody is probably posting how to register. And we
Yeah,
want to
please.
see you there.
Yeah, see you there. And now the website also has a button for registration, which will be permanent, because we're going to do this every 3 months. All we will do is just change the link to it. So please register. And once you register, this is, you're part of the family.
And thank you
and
to
please
the
share
premiere.
with your friends. When you register, please share on all your social media pages and let people know that we're here. Sharing goes a long way because, you have a lot of friends that trust and love you. And when you register and you share that with your friends so they can join and have the experience, because, when we share those experiences, it's so much more powerful than trying to relay it to somebody what you just experienced, especially watching it live, because when you're watching it live, there's a different dynamics that goes on.
Right.
With the energy of the group that joined together. So, and on that note, I have promised some grandchildren some party outdoor microbial time in the grass.
Okay. And
Thank you,
on that
everyone.
note, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your service. We are indebted to you. I am indebted to you. Kimaya and I are completely indebted to you.
No debt. No debt.
Namaste,
Thank you.
vegan.
Namaste, vegan.
Thank you.